Yo, you really want to do this here in front of your peoples? You made the offer to work with me and CBI. Deal's a deal, unless you and your boyfriend don't want in no more.
Now, before we were introduced to Shanti's character, Adrian Walker did give us a bit of a tease into what we could expect. She said she's a boss, she owns her own gym, she's incredibly ambitious, and how we were going to see her calculating and deciding what she wants, what she sees for her future, and capitalizing on all of that. So now that we're 8 episodes into for season 2, where we've seen a lot more of her character, we can probably safely say she's exactly how she described herself prior to season 2. She's been playing some very clever chess games in the shadows, and she's been plotting her moves very carefully, but is Tommy about to find out? Now, this video stems from another behind the scenes where we see Tommy potentially confronting Shanti at her gym. It seems that tension is in the air, and Tommy will be trying to get down to the bottom of the snitch situation and what Shanti and Jenard are up to. So this is something I will come back around to, but can Shanti continue to make moves behind his back? We're going to run through her character arc, how she's played almost a perfect game, not just behind Tommy's back, but also with Claudia, but whether she can take that gigantic step of taking the CBI, or whether Tommy will be cancelling Christmas in Power Book 4 Force Season 2. Now, we all know throughout for Season 2, Tommy's been playing chess and not checkers, but there is also someone else who's been playing a very similar game. Introduced at WS Boxing Gym, she was someone who we knew had more about her character than she was first letting off. She wasn't just a hustler for Jenard, her trophies and ambition spoke volumes. They were giving us subtle hints to tell us this isn't someone who would be happy with second place. In boxing, there's only one winner, and she made it very clear early on she was going to be on the winning side. So she chose to be loyal to Jenard and treason because 1. She wasn't happy that Tommy came to Chicago and started to run the game, but she was also backing Jenard because she thought she was backing the right brother.
I'm betting on you. You win, I win.
If Jenard won, then she won. It was pretty much like an investment for her where she'd then get a return on her investment, because that's how they work. Now, Shanti had Jenard's back in more ways than one. She was a love interest, but when Jenard had trouble paying, she was there in a time of need financially. But it goes back to her backing Jenard because if he won, then she won, and so she was invested.
It's me or the drugs. You choose.
She was also there for his character in a loving way, although we can also argue a different perspective, which we have touched on, but I will come back to it in a bit more detail later on. But as I mentioned, she did show a loving side. Jenard hit rock bottom in his battle with his drug addiction, and she was there for him. She stuck by him when she could have easily have told him to do one, but she didn't. She continued to help Jenard, even though she knew it was Jay who stole the chain just to pay for a high. She promised Diamond that she would help him get him clean, and so we saw him making some good food and a healthy smoothie, pretty much babysitting him because that's what he needed. Let's not get it twisted, he needed to be told what to do because he was a complete wreck. But here's where the other perspective comes into it. Yeah, she is Jenard's girl, and yeah, she did show a bit of a loving and a caring side, but was she only doing so because she knew the only way to eventually fulfill her ambition is through Jenard? She needed Jenard to get clean so he could get back into the CBI because of her eventual end goal.
Then when shit is just where we want it, we gonna take everything from them.
This is where we started to learn more about Shanti as a character, what she stood for, whose side she was on, and ultimately what her end goal was. And I don't think Jenard was 100% on board. We saw him looking at her like, are you kind of sure? And I really do think this is something that could play a part in her eventual downfall, so it is something I'll come back around to. Now, it was made clear she wanted to run her own hustle her own way. She wanted to be the boss and take everything from Tommy and Diamond. They wanted to help them fatten up their organization, help them build it back up, and when this is the right moment, take it from them. But it wasn't just a move with the CBI she had in mind, there was also Claudia.
50-50. I supply the product, you stay clean from CBI.
This gave us yet another insight into who this character was, what she stood for, and what she was willing to do to achieve her end goal. She overheard the deal she made Jenard, and she wasn't going to be taken for a ride by Claudia either. It was a 50-50 split or she was walking straight out that door. So she got what she came for, a partnership. Now, what else we saw for the first time was that she wasn't someone to be messed with. She was a badass bitch who could hold it down against men. Whether it be in the ring, in boxing gloves, or wearing a dress in heels, don't mess with Shanti. Now, these are two characters who are very business savvy and very ambitious. We all know about Claudia already, how she wanted to run the Flynn organization, but when she didn't get her way, she was still able to create this partnership with the Serbian network in return for their protection. But we also saw a foreshadow of her making moves behind Shanti's back, and despite her coming clean to Shanti about the Viagra Triangle business she set up with Elise, this really is just the beginning of them making moves behind each other's backs. I once posted on X that if Effie and Dinah were sorted into houses in Harry Potter, then they'd be Slytherins, and these two are no different. They're snakes. They slither and hiss, making moves behind each other's backs, and when the time comes, not if, I'm pretty sure when that time comes where one gets the opportunity to snake the other out for more power, money, and control, they're gonna take it. So away from Tommy Egan, this is another side plot to Shanti that we just need to be mindful of heading into the last two, and maybe even season 3 if Shanti makes it that far. Now, chess is a theme that runs across the Power universe, from Ghost to Kanan, and even Andre Coleman. There are characters that we may not have liked, but played the perfect chess game during their rise in the drug game, until they made that one fatal mistake. Unfortunately, in the street and drug game, if you make the wrong move on the real board, you can end up in prison, or worse, dead. Now in Shanti's eyes, she's playing the perfect chess game, and I think she is too. She's being very patient by attacking the CBI from the inside. She's working for Tommy, but she hasn't lost sight of her end goal, of eventually taking his organization from him. For now, she's helping him build it back up and watching every move through her eyes and Jenard's eyes. She's being very patient and just sitting back, not acting on information which you'd consider a smoking gun. For example, the image that Jenard took of him and Maria. If Shanti wanted to use this to completely turn Tommy and Maria's world upside down, then she's got the perfect weapon, and chaos does create opportunity. All she'd have to do is expose their relationship online, and then all hell would break loose between Miguel Garcia and Tommy Egan. But by not exposing this relationship, she's keeping her hands clean. She knows at some stage they'll expose themselves, and so she's letting her enemy make the mistake.
We in with Claudia and the Serbs.
Jenard, you just denied that shit.
No, it was my
Right to
deal.
my
Jenard
face.
didn't even know. It was all on me.
You? Why you?
I got it going, figured I could give Claudia over to you as a peace offer.
She also thought the best move to make after Claudia's deal with the Serbs was to tell Tommy about her side hustle. She thought this would gain Tommy's trust, and it does seem like it did. And again, another very clever chess move on Shanti's chessboard. She's used honesty to gain Tommy's trust. However, this is where we do have to look at the other perspective to Shanti's game. Is she underestimating Tommy, or does she actually have him right where she wants him? Now, Tommy is someone who has been coming out of Ghost Shadow in force. He's beginning to make moves of his own, build an organization, and be someone without Ghost. In Power, there were a few characters that mentioned that he'd never amount to anything, and they always doubted what he was capable of.
What happens when you fucking make a mistake? When I make a mistake? Not if.
But even in Power, in glimpses and moments, he was the one who took control. He was the one who was calling the shots. For example, the move that they made with the Serbs. Ghost wanted to kill Vladimir and take their territory, but Tommy thought of a better way where no blood had to be spilled. When it eventually came down to bringing Milan, he was the one who was calling the shots. Of course, there were plenty of moments where he didn't make the right call, but he has learned from his past mistakes. He's learned from Ghost, Kanan, and various other mentors. So with all of that being said, does he see the move coming from Shanti? Is he aware of a game? I really wouldn't put it past him. At some point you'd have to think he'll be confronting her, and then how good is Shanti's poker face? Because Tommy isn't like anybody that she's come across before. He's going to be suspicious of everybody in his organization, especially because he now knows there's a snitch. So does he suspect that Shanti is up to no good? I really wouldn't be surprised if he did. However, if he doesn't, then I'm sure at some stage he will find out, and then it's only a matter of time before you know what. But will it play out the way we expect? I do think someone who may hold all the keys to bringing down Shanti is actually Jenard. He knows the game and what she's up to, and for Shanti's plan to work, then at some stage, she also needs to bring down Diamond. But will Jenard give up his brother when he didn't give up on him? I don't think he will, and when push comes to shove, I do think Jenard will choose Diamond over Shanti. That's just my gut feeling, which of course I could be wrong about, but I do feel like he is the one who holds the key to bringing her down. Now with all of that being said, and them making no secret of Shanti's ambition to take over the CBI alongside her hustle with Claudia, will she continue to go under the radar and get one up on Tommy by the end of season 2? I think we're getting at that stage where it's game time. Tommy needs to know the truth, and I think this conversation that we're about to see them having either in episodes 9 or 10 is going to determine their storyline going forward. But as I just mentioned, someone who does hold a lot of cards is Jenard. What's his next move? Drop all your thoughts and comments down below in the comment section, especially on what you think is going down in this scene. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.